All right. Hello,
Hello.
family, friends. We just wanted to sit down with everyone and talk a little bit about how we started this adoption and how we found Li Wen. Just because we know that there's quite a few of you that don't know any of the story, and we just wanted to share some of it with you.
So here we are in Taiwan, in Kaohsiung City. Tomorrow morning we're going to go meet our daughter for the very first time after a very long process that we've been through. We've had a really decent, fun time in Taiwan so far, even through 2 weeks of quarantine mandated.
Yeah.
That was interesting, but here we are.
We survived.
We survived it. So we're in our hotel in Kaohsiung, just down the street from where we'll be meeting her at the family center. So, yeah.
So we started this process about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And we, Dennis and I wanted to have a kid between us. I have 3 kids and he has 3 kids, so we have 6 together, and we wanted to have one, the 2 of us, and our options for doing that were limited. So I have always wanted to adopt since I was young, like a teenager. As long as I can remember, I've always wanted to adopt, and actually wanted to adopt within the United States. And so when we started talking about having a kid and what that would look like, and
Logistics.
yeah, and Dennis wasn't quite sure.
Right. I wasn't sure from a logistics standpoint if we could take that on. Being as it's two years later, and we do have 1 kid out of the house and on their way, and another one going. I made E7 in the Coast Guard, so we're able to bring in a decent amount of income. So I started looking at things, and we both looked at finances, and logistically speaking, we could afford it. So I told Jennifer to start looking and doing her research on adoption.
Yeah, and we were first deciding on where to adopt from, and so we both decided to pray about it, and just to listen and hear from God about where we should adopt, and then kind of go from there before we started looking at companies.
Right.
And so I prayed about it, and it wasn't feeling anything real specific. And then Dennis was praying about it.
I was. Through a lot of prayer and soul searching and whatnot between us, I felt compelled that we should be looking towards China, towards Asia to adopt our child, specifically a girl, actually.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's go. Let's move in that direction and look for a girl in Asia. And so I got online and started looking at some agencies, and we had actually found a older girl. I think she was like 5 or so at the time, and we inquired about her picture, and the adoption agency that we were going through, or that we had found her picture at, we got in touch with them, and they had said they lost her records, and
she had been moved to a different orphanage.
Yeah, she was moved and things like that, and it kind of felt.
Yeah, it was tough. It was in mainland China, so it's a little bit trickier in mainland China with those things. So it just didn't pan out. It wasn't.
Yeah, and they were telling us to search other agencies, and but they give all the kids a fake name when they put them on their websites, and so we didn't have anything to go off of, and so I was emailing other adoption agencies and sending her picture and trying to find out if anybody else had seen her, where she was, and we just didn't get a good vibe or feel from this adoption agency we started with, and it just didn't quite feel right. Just in my spirit didn't feel right. But in looking for this child's picture, we had decided that maybe we should try something that was local and look for an agency that was in a place where we could actually go to and talk to the people there and feel more comfortable with. And so I found Heart Scent Adoptions, which is about a 45-minute drive from our house in California.
Orinda.
And in Orinda. And we just believed that whatever path we were on in all of this was God's timing, and he was moving us in the direction that he wanted us to go. And so when we had contacted that adoption agency, every adoption agency has a waiting child's list, and the waiting children are usually kids with some sort of disability or have been in the system for a long time, and so those are the ones that they show you the picture and they give out information first. The process is a little bit different than if you went to an agency and said you want to adopt. You would fill out the paperwork and then they match you up with a kid,
right,
like way later on. If you pick a waiting child, you start off with that child. So we looked through their website and we saw Lee Wen, and this is her picture here. This little Snapchat filtered cute little picture, and we saw her, and
we just knew.
Yeah, we just knew right away that she was going to be ours. Like, both of us just felt it. And I remember Dennis was like, I already feel like she's my daughter, like right from the start. And so I'm sorry, I'm a crier.
So we went through the process. We started the initial paperwork and process and went in, and we're actually matched with her immediately. So it cut down, like I said, cut down on a lot of the process. We didn't have to wait. We have waited, but that's partially because of the ongoing COVID-19 environment that we live in.
Yeah.
So here we are, quite a few months back, but still in the process. So.
And Lee Wen is 5 now. She turned 5 in July, and we have seen. We've had the pleasure of getting pictures of her the entire time that we've been going through this process, and we weren't actually in touch with her until January when we got to do Skype calls, but we knew of her and we're getting pictures and videos of her way before we even had a chance to talk with her. And she has epilepsy, and she also doesn't speak very well.
She's getting there though.
Yeah, she said a couple words on the last Skype video that we had. She says help me and thank you and please, and yeah, she's very joyful, and she loves to dance and draw, and is very smart. She knows exactly what the people around her are saying, and she can follow direction and understand them. She just is having a hard time verbalizing the words, and she knows what she wants. She just can't say it. So I started learning sign language a few months back, and I'm still working on it. And we're thinking maybe once we get her home that could be a way to help her communicate more easily, is by learning some sign language. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she is in physical therapy a couple times a week, and she takes medication for epilepsy. She had a little bit of a crooked walk when she was smaller, but we've seen her in videos, and I think she's getting, she can walk upstairs now. And
growing out of it.
Yeah. So yeah, we're the paperwork that we get and the reports we get are somewhat basic and don't have a lot of good medical information.
It's tough to come by.
Yeah, and so like even the translation from the one to the other is hard to get a full translation of what's happening. So we're gonna get her into some doctors and whatnot when she gets home and figure out exactly what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah, and it took us a while to get here, but we have said from the very beginning that it was God's timing and God's plan, and
we've been seeing that at work the entire process, really. I mean, there's been times and things that are just otherwise unexplainable that we've just had to have faith and believe. And basically what we felt the Lord was telling us was to not worry about things, which is, almost humanly impossible for us to do as humans, but to walk in that faith and just believe it. And time again, we've clung really close to, held on to that whole, ask and it shall be given to you. That whole premise, and that's what we've done. And
yeah, I feel like that's been a really big thing of every time we've read verses in the Bible or like prayed about things, it's been just that desire to ask. And why would the Bible teach us to ask, and why would God say that if it wasn't something that we could do, is ask and expect God to show up and to do these things. And we have had when we've had so many hurdles like during this whole process. We had the government shut down for a while during one of the largest payments we were making. I
almost got transferred to Virginia or someplace in the East Coast, and almost went through a transfer, but I was able to actually transfer from San Francisco and stay in the local area in Alameda, which you can't really explain it. I mean, that's all we did was believe through it and pray through it and have faith there and
like during the transfer we all prayed, and our kids prayed, and we just saw God's hand move right through it, and just things that were normally don't happen, and we were blessed to be able to stay where we're at.
Sorry to cut you off on the shutdown thing.
That's okay. And with the government shutdown and making our one of the largest payments, we were supposed to make the payment. We had the government shut down. We had no income coming in for quite a while, except for mine, and like all of the money that we had. It's emotional.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
In our savings, I was nervous about, and taking a big, like all of that money and putting it into this adoption in the middle of something so uncertain was scary. And I just remember feeling such a peace at the time when we went and got the payment out, and we paid the adoption agency, and just trusting that this was the direction God was telling us to move, and we brought our kids along with this, and they knew, and they knew we were pressing forward with it, even though it was a scary time for us at the moment. And I remember praying on my way to work one day about it, and just being reminded that with a small amount of faith, the size of a mustard seed, we could move mountains. And so I literally just said, Lord, this is our mountain. We need the government to be open again. We need to be making an income, and I move it. I'm praying that you'll move it. And it was within a couple hours that I got a call from Dennis that things were back up and work was back up, and it was great. I just felt like it was just another reminder of God telling us to ask, just to have faith and ask, and just to keep hearing his voice and moving. And it was the same again when we had written down on a prayer request at church about being about $3,000 short on one of our other larger payments. And we wrote it down in the prayer request, and I had everything worked out for cashing out stock, and we'd gone through Starbucks, which offered $10,000 towards an adoption, and so we had all this worked out, and we were still about $3,000 short. And we wrote down the prayer request, and by the next day I went to the bank and took out all the money, and it was all there. And so I don't know how that worked out. I didn't even, it was just there. Like, every bit was there. I ended up getting more from stock than I thought, and just I can't have no explanation for all the details behind it. And it's been great to have our kids seeing prayers be answered like that, and to have our faith grow, and to watch Dennis be moved by watching God's hand and things, and being able to see that.
Well, it's been good. It's been a good thing, this winding road that we've been on from the beginning. You know, it was what we were told at the beginning. You know, it was just walking that line, just step into that, and you know, like it says, God will make your path straight. So through this curvy environment that we've been walking through, with government shutdowns and not having money at times, and then almost moving, then the coronavirus whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a winding road, but it's true. Our path has been made straight, and we walked through it, and it's been very, very good, very, very cool thing to see everything happen the way it's unfolded. So now here we are.
Yeah, and even with being frustrated about how long things are taking, and we just keep reminding each other, it's in God's timing, and we're like, okay. And then the other day we were here and we were hiking, and I was just thinking about how here we were frustrated about the coronavirus making the process longer, and causing us to be here for a longer trip, which was unexpected. And a traveling, and even just financially traveling for a week is way different than traveling here for a month. But we never would have gotten the opportunity to be here during this time, and to be seeing where she's lived, and be experiencing her culture, and her food, and the people, and just have this time together. It never would have happened the other way. So it really has been in God's timing, where we feel very blessed to be here right now, and for this long.
Yeah. So here we are on the eve of getting to meet her tomorrow at about 10 a.m. just down the street. We'll buzz down there and go see what this kid's all about. What do you say?
Yeah. Very excited. So we'll keep you guys posted, and we'll for sure get some video, and let you guys meet her.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.